Hey everybody, I'm Jack, and this is Herald Tribune Living coming to you on Friday afternoon into the week. I hope you've had a good one. Probably by the time you watch this, the week will be over and you'll be into the weekend. So hope you're ready for it. Anyhow, today I'm talking about health and exercise, and how exercise relates to health. And you know, this could apply to everybody, but the reason I said raw vegan fitness and health is because I think most of us that are doing this raw vegan thing, or even the high carb thing, you know, raw to 4, whatever high carb vegan form you're doing, are probably, we're doing this more, you know, we're doing it as a health. We're trying to improve our health. Now, my ideas have changed over the years. I've been in the gym, I was in the gym my whole life until just a couple of years ago. And I've changed my ideas on this because I always used to think that fitness, being fit, equated to being healthy. And it's not mutually exclusive. But health doesn't, I mean, fitness doesn't necessarily equal health. Fitness can equal health, but there's just certain ways. I'm starting to look into this. I was actually thinking about this when I was actually getting ready for another video, like doing a little bit of reading and putting some thoughts together on that. And I started thinking about this, you know, and the way I'm working out now, and I'm seeing some results, and you know, I read over and over, and I'm going to share a couple of things, thoughts with you here. But what they're starting, and you know, the younger people, and this is, listen, this is not to tell you don't go out and do any certain type of exercise or to tell you how to do something. It's just, I'm going to just say, be aware of the facts and be aware of, you know, what you're doing when you're exercising, whether it be moderate exercise or extreme exercise of some sort. And, you know, just be aware, and then you can make the choice. And if I was younger, quite frankly, I'm not sure I would, you know, adhere to some of this advice, because you know, you just got more energy and you want to be a little bit more extreme when you're younger. But then there's people that aren't naturally athletes, or they're not really into the fitness thing, but they do want to be healthy, and they want to use fitness to improve their health as much as possible. And you see people out there, and you see a lot of these programs where, like the stuff on infomercials on TV, where they have all this extreme forms of exercise. And I'm not sure that's the best thing in the world, especially when it's somehow marketed to people that a lot of times are overweight and not in the best shape and have not come from a background of exercising. So I've got a couple of pieces that I want to share with you here in no particular order, and I probably, you know, I could have taken another hour and really organized this, so it may jump around a little bit. But they're this study here is on it's just from the Herald Tribune a few years ago. I was just going through different ones, and I'm not it's nothing. I'm not going to state a lot of statistics. These are a lot of generalities. So. They were talking, scientists have checked, you know, in research on people that, like especially runners. This jumped into my head. Right here, hold on one second. Okay, for people who exercise but fret they really should be working out more, new studies may be soothing. The amount of exercise needed to improve health and longevity, this new science shows, is modest, and more is not necessarily better. That is the message of the newest and perhaps most compelling of the studies, which was presented on Saturday at the annual meeting of the American College of Sports Medicine in San Francisco. For it, researchers at the University of South Carolina Arnold School of Public Health and other institutions combed through the health records of some 50,000 American adults who had undergone physicals between 1971 and 2002 as part of the Aerobics Center longitudinal study of the Cooper, blah, blah, blah. We're getting a little bit into details, I said not. The researchers found that about 27% of the participants reported regularly running, although in wildly varying amounts and paces. The scientists then checked death reports. Over the course of the study, 2,900 of the participants died, but the incidence was much lower among the group that ran. Those participants, on average, had a 19% lower risk of dying from any cause than non-runners. Notably, in closely parsing the participants' self-reported activities, the researchers found that running in moderation provided the most benefits. Those who ran 1 to 20 miles per week at the average pace of about 10 or 11 minutes per mile, in other words jogging, reduced their risk of dying during the study more effectively than those who didn't run, and those admittedly few who ran more than 20 miles a week and those who typically ran at a swifter pace than 7 miles an hour. These data certainly support the idea that more running is not needed to produce extra health and mortality benefits. If anything, it appears that less running is associated with the best protection from mortality risk. More is not better, and actually more could be worse. You know, every time you exercise, and especially extreme exercise, it produces inflammation in the body. Now, that also produces lactic acid and certain acidity in the body. Now, I'm not even remotely qualified to get into acidity in the body and that, but I do know it produces inflammation. And I wanted to get back, I wanted to talk about this guy, and I had to look him up. I've read about this guy a good bit. Steve Maxwell. I read about him, I first came across him about a year and a half ago, and I've been kind of following some of his training and his thoughts. Now, he is a pretty extreme guy. Stephen Maxwell, he was born in '52, so he's a little bit older than me. If I'm 51, he's 63. He's an American fitness coach, physical educator, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructor. And let me tell you something, the guy for his, not even for his age, this guy's a badass. He does training all over the world, and athletes just come, you know. He's one of the top trainers in the world. Maxwell was the first man to teach kettlebell classes in the United States, holds a master's degree in exercise science, and he trains professional athletes, including players for the Phillies, Dodgers, and Eagles. He has also worked with various U.S. government agencies, including the DEA, Secret Service, and FBI, as well as many Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu academies. Okay, now this is where you'll have to bear with me. Okay. Okay, exercise, and this is an article by him, so I'm reading from him now. I just wanted to let you know a little who he was. Exercise can help you become stronger, more muscularly enduring, less susceptible to injury. Engaging in regular exercise can improve body composition and increase cardiorespiratory functioning. Properly conducted exercise shouldn't ever cause injury. Properly conducted exercise will instead make the joints and connective more mobile, resilient, and tough, not to mention increase your ability to exert more force. Proper exercise will improve forcefulness. All these statements make sense and are pretty well known, yet there's rampant confusion regarding the best way to achieve these benefits. The way to not go about it is to produce injury. If you're hurting yourself in your training, you need to reevaluate it as you're doing and why you're doing it. A general exercise program meant to improve your ability in a specific sport should follow sane, logical loading parameters. The form and technique is of utmost importance. And he's just talking about, I can skip through some of this, he's just talking about the different reasons. And you know, there are people out there that are athletes, so when you're getting into a sport, there's something, you know, I understand that. There's that pull, there's something, training for a sport is specific, not necessarily training for health. But you still have to respect it. I love sports. I love people that can, you know, express their body in that extreme way. And he said, basically, he comes down, he says, realize what it is you're training for. Understand that feats of strength and stunts are more or less harmful in that their only purpose is show. There is no functional pretext of goals or scoring, and without an audience would you still persist. There's a price to be paid in vital energy for these demonstrations. The wages of the sins against the joints are as follows: pain, injury, potential disability, and months or years off of your life. If you're training for health, you'll prioritize preserving muscle into advanced age, easy movement, maintenance of locomotion, and optimal body composition. If you're an active athlete in any type of competitive sport, it's a well-known fact that when all else is equal, strength is the primary factor in getting over your opponent. If you're training, let me go down, I will tell you. Okay, it's important to understand that training for sport as well as gymnastic stunts is inherently life-shortening. Perhaps no one has ever told you these activities in excess are in themselves unhealthy and that they sap vital energy more than add to your stores. You're more than likely shaving years off your life. And he goes on to say, I'm not telling anyone not to do these things. Go ahead and express yourself. I'm advising awareness of why you do them and the potential negative consequences. Disabuse yourself of the notion that competitive sport is health promoting. As a longtime athlete, I'm aware of the results of my actions and gladly accept them. I am content with the results of a career in violent contact sport. A man can't just sit around while the sun still shines on his back. But understand how inconsequential and short-lived the physical nature is in the big picture, and you may wish to pursue other dreams. The average life expectancy of an NFL player is reported as 20 years shorter than an average guy. And we look at these guys, you know, well, maybe not the linemen, big guys, but these guys, you know, we consider them, you would consider an NFL player healthy, or most people would. If you know a little bit more about what's going on, you might not. Ask any one of the players and they will likely respond it was worth every minute for the opportunity to play at such an elite level. That's where I say, you just make a choice, but just know what, you know the facts. But what about you? They're training in the garage or the local CrossFit. Are you getting an unholy return on your adrenaline investment? You must assess the risk to benefit ratio with this caveat. When training for general good health, proper exercise should never produce injury. A player accepts the fact that injury is a reality of sports as part of the deal. Here's the thing. The same thing can be expected when you make exercise into sport. In strength sports like powerlifting, Olympic lifting, tweaks and injuries are not all uncommon. Yet not nearly as uncommon as playing soccer or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The quest to perform stunts in urban gymnastics. These movements are very impressive, but there's a heavy price to pay down the line with permanent damage to the joints. So let's see, my point, he gets down, I'll scroll down a little bit more. My point, be aware, use critical thinking. Another point is that training for feats and stunts has nothing whatsoever to do with your sports ability or any other non-related activities. Feats and stunts require very specific training and skill sets, blah, blah, blah. Trying to demonstrate strength is no way to build strength. And then he gets down the law of diminishing returns. Let's see if he's got anything else. Okay, well that pretty much gets the point across. But this is a guy that this is his life. Exercise is his life. He makes his living by training people in extreme sport, extreme exercise. Yet he's smart enough and he's honest enough to actually come out and say that you know, be aware of what you're doing that for. It's not necessarily producing you know, health. And then you have to just ask yourself, when you're exercising, what is your reason for exercising? What are your goals? What is your purpose for doing this? Now, you know, like I say, this year I started sliding into it in 2014, but I've really been, besides working, you know, trying to do the physical exercise myself, I'm actually looking into this and reading more about it and trying to understand, you know, what I can do. And also it's about efficiency as well. You know, what can I do? You know, how can I maximize the exercise that I'm doing to benefit my health? And you know, I like the track I'm on right now. I've got a lot more to learn. I'm gonna adapt some more things in there, but I like the way I'm training right now. I feel results. I feel like I'm slowly getting a little bit stronger. I'm putting a little bit of muscle on, nothing drastic, but like I say, with this progressive body weight training and the convict conditioning program that I'm doing, which is going really slow, but I feel it. And I can feel my joints strengthening, my ligaments strengthening. I can feel stability in my shoulders, my elbows, and all the areas that I didn't necessarily feel before when I was just, you know, like just mindlessly pumping iron, always having an ache and a pain. Oh, my shoulder's hurting, this is hurting. I'm not getting that. The yoga, it's you know, the vinyasa flow that I do, it's not just a little bit of stretching. You know, some people aren't really familiar with yoga, that they all think it's just all very gentle and stretching. No, it's very strenuous, but it's strenuous in a way, in a contained way, where I don't feel like, I don't feel anything on my joints. And that's what, you know, from the past, I remember when I was in college, and there's just something instinctive in my head that just tells me that's not the way. I mean, I remember in college it was just all about hoisting as much weight as possible. At 51 years old, my legs feel better. Now, they're not as strong. They don't have as much muscle. They feel better than when I was in college. I had a hard time running across the street because I was in this gym, you know, of just meatheads. And you tried to do as much weight as possible. I could, you know, for a while, I could squat over 500 pounds, and my knees just killed me all the time. You know, I used to run. I never ran a whole lot. But, you know, even running, when I would run longer distances, you know, that you just felt those joint pains. And, you know, back then it was just, that's part of it. You know, I just had it in my head that you were supposed to feel pain. Pain is good. No pain, no gain. All that, you know, that man stuff that we learned back in my era anyway. But as I'm going, you know, I'm just trying to study what will give me the maximum. I mean, here's my goal, and you have to define that goal for yourself. My goal is not just longevity, as I've stated before, but my goal is to be able to be as active as I want to be when I'm 65, when I'm 75, when I'm 90, if I'm still kicking at 90. You know, I'm not going to, and let me tell you, some of the people out there that might be like, well, yeah, no, I like to do what I do. I've been strong before. I've never had, but that's never had any practical application for me. I've never lifted a car off of somebody. You know, I've never had to do a feat of strength in a practical situation in my life. So for me, I just want to be able to run. I want to be able to play. I want to be able to move pain-free for as long as possible in my life. So that's why I'm really happy on the road that I'm on right now. And I'm going to continue. I mean, there's more that's coming down the road. Right now, most of my exercise consists of yoga, of doing the convict conditioning, and that convict conditioning is a very short workout. I mean, I was skeptical as hell, and I have a certain amount of skepticism left on just the short amount of time that I put into it, but I'm slowly seeing the results, and I'm extrapolating into the future, like, okay, yeah, you've been doing it 3.5 months now, a little less than 3.5 months, down the road, you know, what's going to be when you've been doing it a year? I'm feeling the results. The yoga makes me feel good. If I don't ever get any better at yoga or more flexible at yoga, I had lower back pain when I got into yoga. I don't have that anymore. I had pain in my neck. I don't have that anymore. So boom, I'm feeling better from that. Now the one aspect that I really want to add in, well, one of the aspects I really want to add in is cardio. I haven't done much for cardio. I kind of got you know, I was running after I became raw vegan, but then I had to stop that because I just got so severely skinny, and that was the time I was trying to build back up, that I just equated cardio with burning off too much. So I haven't done a whole lot of cardio. So I'm trying to work on some things right now. I bought a jump rope for here. I've got one back at home that I haven't been using, and I want to start working on some short bursts of stuff like the high intensity workouts, but just very short bursts of them, or the Tabatas, you know, where you get your heart rate up for, you know, really high for a while, but I need to get some more of that cardio in there. And then there's going to be some more strength training well, strength and cardio. Now, one thing that I'm looking into right now that you might be interested in also looking into for yourself is kettlebell workouts, because those are they kind of combine the cardio and an aspect of strength training at the same time. You do. Now, one thing I'm reading about this is you do need to get some instruction in that. Yes, I'm going to probably, there's a good book that I'm looking into getting, and as I add that in, I'm going to be very careful and probably teach myself some of the workouts, but that's not really recommended. If you live anywhere where you have a decent gym, you know, in most gyms now, the kettlebell is getting pretty popular, but make sure the person is qualified to teach or train in that, because you can get hurt with that. So that's maybe some advice right there that I'm not taking, because I probably will do some workouts on my own very, very carefully, because I understand physiology and I understand working out. But be careful with any of these workouts, you know. Be sure you're in sufficient shape or a condition to even start the workout you're doing. I just want to kind of get those disclaimers out of there. I'm not trying to tell you how to work out. I'm not qualified that in any way, shape, or form. I'm talking about exercise more from theory, more as a whole. But yeah, I'd like to add some of those in there, but it's not about going out anymore. I don't, you know, I used to go to the gym for an hour and a half, 2 hours. No. or I'm not looking. When I first got, went raw vegan, I was so gung ho. I wanted to do something physical. I'm feeling so much better, and I really seriously considered, training for long distance running or training for triathlon type stuff or whatever, or either probably long distance running, because I can swim very well. I can outswim. I mean, I can swim, survival swimming, and just being a strong swimmer. I'm a good swimmer, but never been good at swimming for exercise. I just never could pace myself, and then you have to have a bike, a proper bike, and whatever. So anyhow, I thought about just getting into something that was a little bit more extreme, just to push myself now with this. But as I go more and more, and it really becomes the focus on health, I want everything I'm doing to be functional and efficient. And that's what I'm looking for with my workouts as well. I don't really do any too many videos on workout, because I just feel like I'm so underqualified, and somebody might take that as an example of how they should do it. I might do some things on my workouts in the future, or on workouts in the future, just like I say, more as an example of things you can explore yourself, but I never want it to be like, look, I'm qualified, I'm showing you how to do this. It's just more like, hey, we need to be getting some good moderate exercise. Get your heart up, get your blood pumping. It's really, get yourself moving more than anything else. Okay, I'm going to stop there before the rambling. I think I've sort of made my point before I start rambling and all. But just look into this, and when you're choosing an exercise program, a fitness regimen for yourself, totally, like I said, not telling you what to do, but look into it. And look at, this stuff's really interesting. I'm kind of a geek when it comes to things like this. I like to read into it. I can't spit back the science at you, but I enjoy reading about the science, the physiology, and learning about this kind of stuff is pretty interesting. But like I say, educate yourself on it, know the risk, know the rewards, and make your own decisions. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. Hope you'll subscribe to the channel, and hope you have a wonderful weekend. Have some fun, people. Peace.